Welcome to The Explainer. I'm absolutely thrilled to have you here today because we're tackling a topic that has, well, literally sparked millions of debates around the globe. We're looking at reframing legacy, the science of football greatness. We're going to take a fascinating journey together today. We'll start from the raw, emotional heartbreak on the world's absolute biggest sporting stage, and then we're taking it all the way to hard, undeniable, peer-reviewed science. We're going to see exactly what the data actually tells us about the greatest players of our generation. Let's get right into it.
So does one single tournament define a legacy? Okay, let's dive into this because it's a massive question, isn't it? For years, the whole football world has been caught up in this highly charged, super emotional debate surrounding Cristiano Ronaldo. Think about it. When you spend your entire life building a resume of just unparalleled greatness, can the narrative of your whole career really be rewritten by the outcome of just a few matches? Keep that question in the back of your mind, because the answer we find in the data might completely change how you view sports history.
Section 1. The World Cup Heartbreak, Qatar 2022 and the Bench. To really understand the science, we first need to set the scene. Remember Portugal's stunning exit and their talisman Ronaldo actually benched for the most crucial matches of the entire tournament?
When you look at how this event was handled, the contrast is just staggering. Actually, scratch that. It's more like a night and day difference. His former manager, Fernando Santos, stated pretty plainly that leaving Ronaldo out of the starting lineup against Switzerland and Morocco was purely a tactical and technical decision. He basically maintained that, hey, if they hadn't been eliminated, there wouldn't have been a problem at all. Now contrast that with his current manager, Roberto Martinez. He is taking a completely different approach. He's relying heavily on Ronaldo and pointing to a very specific, monumental goal that the player is actively chasing right this very second. And this brilliantly illustrates his mindset. 250. That is the massive target Roberto Martinez recently revealed Ronaldo is aiming for. 250 international caps for Portugal? I mean, he currently has over 200, but reaching 250? That means he is relentlessly pushing toward the 2026 World Cup, by which point he'll be 41 years old. To put that into perspective, this number shows us a player who absolutely refuses to let a single tournament or even a single manager's tactical decision dictate the end of his international story. Moving on to Section 2. Redefining football greatness, a philosophical shift. Because as Ronaldo pushes toward these new milestones, his own perspective on that crushing loss in Qatar has profoundly evolved. Just listen to this quote from a recent interview he gave to Piers Morgan. He said, "To define what? To define if I'm one of the best in history? To win one competition, 6 games, 7 games? Do you think it's fair?" You know, it's a really powerful question. He's directly challenging the football world's total obsession with the World Cup as the ultimate metric of greatness. He's basically asking us, is it genuinely fair to judge a lifetime of relentless, elite consistency based on one 7-game tournament? Which brings us to Section 3, the science of consistency, moving from emotion to data. It's time we leave those subjective media narratives behind and step directly into some peer-reviewed science to see what the numbers actually say. To do this, researchers use something called competing failure modes, or CFM. Now, please don't let the complex name intimidate you. In statistics, this is a survival analysis method. Usually, it's used to measure reliability, like how long a machine part will last before an event or a failure occurs. But here, the researchers brilliantly flipped it. The event isn't a failure at all. The event is scoring a goal. And since a goal can happen in a bunch of multiple ways, like a header, a penalty, a free kick, CFM scientifically measures a player's reliability and consistency to score over time across all these different competing methods. 17. The researchers didn't just look at a few seasons or a couple of random tournaments. No, they analyzed over 17 years of professional, minute-by-minute data to definitively compare Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi. We are talking about spanning from the 2002-2003 season all the way to the 2020-2021 season. They pulled game statistics from literally thousands of matches just to see exactly how long it takes each player to find the back of the net. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the visual representation of their goal distribution based on minutes of playing time. When you map out the time duration it takes for both players to score across those 17 years, the reliability curves overlap almost perfectly. It's like a giant puzzle coming together. The math completely removes all the bias. It proves that despite the endless, passionate debates we hear, their goal-scoring consistency over a nearly 2-decade span is virtually identical. From a purely scientific standpoint, their reliability to score is an exact tie. Let's head into Section 4, a tale of two greats, different paths to the net. Because while the science tells us their consistency is equal, the data reveals they take entirely different roads to get there. To map this out, researchers tracked exactly how these goals happened. Literally every single goal over 17 years was categorized into 6 distinct modes. They tracked whether they used a right-footed kick, a left-footed kick, a header, or if they relied on set pieces like penalty kicks, direct free kicks, and long-range kicks. Doing this helped them understand the totally unique anatomy of their greatness. And the crucial contrast lies right here in their versatility. Over that 17-year period, Cristiano Ronaldo scored more than 100 goals in 4 completely different ways, with his right foot, his left foot, his head, and from penalties. His game is built on just extreme versatility across his whole body. Lionel Messi, on the other hand, scored more than 100 goals in only one way, the left-footed kick. In fact, a staggering 63.26% of his goals came from his left foot. So Ronaldo relies on total physical versatility, while Messi relies on the absolute extreme mastery of his left foot. So this brings us to the core takeaway of our explainer. 17 years, identical reliability, 2 completely different styles. The science proves they are absolute equals in consistency. This academic analysis strips away all the noise, the drama of a short tournament, and all those flashy media headlines. It leaves us with the undeniable fact that as forwards, their ability to adapt, to survive, and to consistently score against changing opponents in strategies for nearly 2 whole decades is statistically matched. Which leaves us with this final provocative thought. If science definitively proves their consistency on the pitch is equal, does the ultimate crown of football greatness actually come down to the specific trophies they lift, like that elusive World Cup? Or does it come down to the sheer longevity of their brilliance, pushing for 250 caps at 41 years old? The data gives us the hard facts, but how you weigh a month-long tournament against 2 decades of scientific consistency, well, that's entirely up to you. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning the data behind the debate.